Everybody knows that you guys are the macro gurus of the street. So I came in here on a big number day. GDP this morning.
We didn't even know it was coming out.
We had no idea.
It's true. We had no idea.
I know. I was watching this morning, and you go, "Oh, something just came out."
Something just came out. I said GDP, and he went, "Oh, you know me." And that was the last time we talked about it.
2.8%, gentlemen. First of all, this is second quarter GDP, the advanced look. So this is a quarter that is already passed. 2.8%. The consensus, Thomas, was 2%.
Okay.
2%. Atlanta GDP was 2.7%. The point is, the economy is much stronger.
That surprises
than the previous quarter.
I've already told you this is probably one of the strongest economies we've ever had.
But you're short all financial assets. Make it make sense.
No. This is one of the strongest economies, and I think it's gonna be hard to stay up here, but I think.
Are you campaigning for VP right now? Is that what this is? What are you doing right now?
I wouldn't want to be vice president because, it's kind of.
Couldn't be a number two.
Job.
You couldn't be a number two.
You don't hear him. You don't really see him. He doesn't do anything.
I don't know who would ever want to be vice president.
If you, President Biden gave his speech yesterday in which he had announced that he wasn't running for a second term after being.
The only reason he did that is just because people like you had to see that he was.
Where was he? Where was he? I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it probably wasn't the real Biden. It was probably.
Oh no, it was AI. Yeah, for sure. But it was a weekend of Bernie's whole thing.
If you had to do that, if you had to go on national television and step down, not run a second campaign, what would you have said, Tom?
Well, it's interesting because, of course, I wouldn't have done that.
I know. Nancy Pelosi herself, Barack Obama speaking out against you running a second term, nothing could have derailed you from running a second term.
If I was 80 years old and in cognitive decline.
Well, so now you're admitting that that's the case.
Right, because before you were saying he was absolutely fine. You were not flexible. You're not flexible.
Nobody had any idea.
Nobody had any idea.
You're not good with the obvious, and you're not flexible.
I didn't have any idea. But my point is...
Wait, do you listen?
Would I have... if Tony said to me today, you need to step away from the business, you're no longer...
Tony says that every morning.
I know, but I'm just saying, if Tony...
I meant it this time.
If he said, listen, I think... You've seen better days. I think it's time for you.
I say you need glasses, and you know you do, but you don't get them.
My eyesight's perfect. But if Tony said to me, I think it's time.
Mm-hmm. Would you take an eye test?
What do you mean would I take an eye test? I've taken 100 eye tests.
No, would you take an eye test? Can we film you taking an eye test? I'm going to get that with Vanessa. That's the next thing we're going to do.
Yeah, we can film taking an eye test.
All right, here's my point. That this morning, there was relatively strong data. Jobless claims, 10,000, something like that, less than expected. GDP for the second quarter was a lot stronger than people were expecting it. And there were even whispers yesterday that if we dropped enough in the S&P 500 prior to the end of the month, that the Fed might go an emergency rate cut. It seems like with today's GDP, even though on the heels of it, we got a horrific durable goods number, which is down 6.6%. The consensus for it to scratch or be slightly positive. The point is, what does a stronger than expected second quarter economy, does it mean anything for the markets going forward in your mind? Does it mean yesterday people were discounting, we're not going to see ROI in all these AI stocks, that Google somehow is spending hold on, let me finish. I know what you're going to say. That Google's spending $12 billion a quarter and we're not seeing immediate ROI. And somehow that was a problem yesterday, that people are expecting ROI on AI returns inside of 6 months. And now because the economy is stronger, that whole narrative flips on a dime in 24 hours. Do you think that's true? Or do you think this market is still weak, susceptible?
I think this market is very susceptible. I think the market's very susceptible because it's just, but not for any of the reasons that you're saying.
Okay, why?
Because I'm actually a trader.
Okay.
And the reasons.
By the way, is there some place I can go to get licensed where I then can call myself a trader? Because I'm doing this every day, and I've been doing it every day for 15 years. So
wait, let me see. You're a trader. I've made you a trader.
No, until you start to just respect the markets for what they are.
Okay.
Instead of trying to, you're playing a game.
Yes.
Which is interesting from the perspective of, listening to Victor Jones.
Don't soften it up. Just say it.
I'm not softening it up. I'm just saying, listening to Victor Jones, you are an engaging speaker, and listening to you talk about different things, it's for us in short spurts, it's fine. I can handle it. But as a trader, okay, I would rather hear trader talk. Like in other words, you sitting there telling me what the GDP does or what it's up or down versus what was expected or the economy's strong or whatever else it is. I mean, of course the economy's strong. The market's been up for a year straight. The market already knows the economy's strong. Like the market doesn't. It's not a coincidence. It's not a freak coincidence that the economy's strong and the market's just off record highs. That's not a coincidence.
Agreed.
What's funny is that people try to wait for confirmation at record highs to somehow justify their commitment, their engagement, whatever else it is. I really think that as a trader, you just have to trade what's in front of you.
Yes.
It's almost like it's almost like any athlete. You know, you play who's ever covering you, who's ever pitching to you, whatever it is. You take what's there, and it's like building a business. You take what's there.
Okay, here's the flip side. Here's why I think it's a little bit more relevant than I think you're giving credit to. I agree with a lot of what you're saying, that how strong the economy was in the second quarter when we're already in the third quarter, and the market is a discounting mechanism for 9 to 12 months in the future, it's who cares. But the degree of difference, if the market thinks that the economy was growing at a 2% rate in the second quarter, and it was actually growing at 2.8%, my point is we're in an earnings season. We're about to hear from who? Amazon, Microsoft, you name it, next week. And all of that is second quarter performance. So if you believe that these binary events are going to potentially weigh on the market on either an idiosyncratic way or a macro way, then it could play into how people are positioning or how they're thinking about earnings for next week. What I'm saying is, prior to today, if you just look at the narrative and the positioning yesterday, it was, let me de-risk into a really big earnings week next week because I don't think we're going to see the ROI of AI returns. But all of a sudden, if the economy grew last quarter at 2.8% versus 2%, that can mean something very different for the earnings reports for the rest of this quarter, which means you take a different positioning. And I'll go one further. Where I wanted to go was, what does this mean next week's earnings? What does it mean for the Russell Nasdaq trade? And this is why. There's been dispersion in the markets. Would you agree?
Yes.
That correlations are not going to one, that you're having one part of the market that is weak and one part of the market where money is rotating.
Okay.
Next week, you're getting major technology companies' earnings reports. So the question becomes, do you get idiosyncratic movements? Can Amazon go up while Apple goes down, or Microsoft go down while Amazon goes up? Can that happen? Or do we see NASDAQ continue to trade sort of in unison during those idiosyncratic binary events next week? If it's idiosyncratic, then I think the Russell Nasdaq trade is a tough trade to have on next week. If it's things are going to move in unison with higher correlations next week, I think the Russell Nasdaq trade is an interesting trade to keep on through next week. So all of this was building up towards how to think about the Russell Nasdaq spread into a massive week of earnings next week. I do think it's related to the trader's point of view. You didn't let me finish.
Yeah, I still don't understand. I still don't understand it, but that's okay.
That's okay. You want to know why it's okay? Because the Russell's up a full percentage point and the Nasdaq down a half a percentage point right now. He's long Russell, short Nasdaq.
Yeah. I just actually covered some Nasdaq right here because I think Nasdaq's gonna make a trading low in here. But
Are you in the matrix right now? I just want to know.
yeah, I'm kind of in the
Kind of a little bit.
little bit.
Into the matrix.
I'll wait. Go.
But I think that spread actually may turn around today a little bit later on, but I'm not getting out.
Why? Just a feeling?
It's not just a feeling. It's just that these markets have been very one-dimensional for a long time. And I think that if you there's certain trades that have been one way for so long that I kind of feel like I'm in a good spot with this trade. Finally up money on it, and I just want to ride it out a little longer. I'm not trying to overthink it. And going back to your AI discussion, I think that the idea that there would not be a tone change in the entire AI space, like NVIDIA's down to 110 right now. You know, I mean, so great. It's dropped got like 135, 140 was the high, but now it's down to 110. It's a much, more, I think, reasonable number for NVIDIA. Do I think NVIDIA is going to $60? No. But NVIDIA traded for 2 years without a downtick on all the AI hype. It is not unreasonable to think, hey, we can have a 20% correction in NVIDIA without having to think about why we're having a 20% correction in NVIDIA. I mean, it got overhyped to the point of it got overbought every single person was all in NVIDIA. I mean, it went from a couple $100 billion company to a $3 trillion company. It's ridiculous.
So, okay, let me ask the question very, very simply then. Next week, you're going to get a bunch of technology reports. Would you keep the Russell NASDAQ spread on through the idiosyncratic risks next week? Or do you take it off in favor of other trades?
So I am a keep the trade on until I'm ready to take the trade off type of trader.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care that there's
Don't care about the calendar.
earnings. Like Tony and I don't adjust trades. We will adjust trades based on earnings, but we don't care that there's an earning.
That's a known binary event to that
That's right.
specific stock, as opposed to a macro view of the entire market itself,
Mm-hmm.
which we think is a lot harder to figure out or benefit from than the implied volatility of an earnings, whether you want to avoid it or not.
Okay. I'm gonna try to mess your head up for a second on my last question before I get out of
By
here.
the way, even the S&P down 16, NASDAQ up, NASDAQ down 180, Russell up 21, and the Dow up 170.
I need percentages. What's that in percentage terms?
Sure.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So NASDAQ's down just about 1%. Russell's up just about 1%.
I got to cover now.
Crazy after yesterday.
Crazy move.
This morning, Tom Lee.
Oh my God. Quote this guy, Tom Lee. Like, what do you want?
You'll see.
You want his payroll?
Because the funny thing is, he's been calling a massive rally in the Russell as well. And I think he said something like a 15% rally in August is his call. And there's two reasons. One, because the expected rate cut in September. And the second is because the market is moving towards, he believes that the higher probability of a Trump presidency is a catalyst for the Russell moving higher. So the way I wanted to go out today was to say, how do you feel that Donald Trump is helping your Russell NASDAQ position? How does that make you feel? And are you going to keep the trade on knowing that the America First policy is benefiting the Russell, which gets a majority of its income from the U.S. versus global?
First of all, I don't believe that whole logic is actually idiotic. And I don't think about things in terms of winning because if you thought that was the case, then you would hate this trade over the last couple of days because he's lost a big chunk of his lead. So it would be actually the exact opposite. I don't care when people tell me,
has he lost a big chunk of his lead?
Yeah,
or are there a bunch of headlines in the last 2 days?
Well, he has predicted, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I don't make a trade because I think somebody's going to win, because somebody's in the lead or not in the lead. Like, that would be the dumbest thing. Like, I'm not making a trade because I think, that Trump's going to win or because he's going to lose. It's for the same reason I don't make an earnings trade. I don't care. Like, I really don't care about that stuff.
If you were a bookie, right?
Yeah.
And let's say that you're making a line on a game. If the star basketball player on the home team breaks his leg, doesn't that impact how you think about the line?
Sure.
So then why doesn't policy that impacts fiscal, monetary, everything else? You have to discount all of this.
I should be more clear about this. If a star player breaks his leg, then it's going to impact on who I think is going to win the game. If a star player breaks his leg, I am not worried about how it impacts the line. There's a big difference between the two. So
if you make the line, you have to be worried about that.
Yeah, I got it. But what I'm saying is, if I am interested, in betting on some team, and we're not talking about lines, then the star player bothers me if it breaks his leg. If I'm talking about betting on the same game and the star player breaks his leg and the line has changed, I don't care because I believe in efficient markets. So there's nothing that these markets, unless there's an aspect of these markets which for some reason is hidden from all the information that's out there, which I don't think it's possible. And unless that exists, then no, I'm fine with everything.
Give me a number where you stop being an NVIDIA bear and you actually buy NVIDIA.
Oh, I'm actually not really short NVIDIA now. I was short NVIDIA, and my options ran out last.
You're a trader and you don't say expiration. You say my options ran out.
It ran out. Where I would buy NVIDIA.
90.
He doesn't like to sound like a trader. You know what I mean?
My options ran out.
Look like a trader. Doesn't like to sound like a trader. NVIDIA down $5 to 109, by the way.
Where would I buy NVIDIA?
Is there a number, or is it like is it like Wells Fargo? It's dead to you.
It's not dead to me. I mean, I'm still trading NVIDIA now, but I just have mostly strangles.
By the way, volatility up 18 cents to 17.25. You're getting filled on everything. I believe.
Nasdaq's down 200. There's no number right now that I would buy NVIDIA. Let's put it that way. Like I'm not, if the time comes that it gets down to 90 or 85 and it looks really interesting and we're like in crash mode, sure.
All right, flip question, and I know I'm over. What's the number where you start selling the Russell? Is it 2,500, 27, 3,000? What's the
No. I don't have any naked Russell. My Russell position, as I look at it here, it's all tied. My Russell position is all tied to, S&Ps and NASDAQ.
I keep saying last question, but do you think long yen and short NASDAQ is the same trade? It's really highly correlated. It seems like the reverse carry trade is killing the NASDAQ.
It's been highly correlated for the last 7 days.
Yes.
That does not make a highly correlated trade.
Okay.
We actually took some profits in this morning, but I'm still long yen. I'm staying long yen. The NASDAQ Russell, we took some profits in yesterday. I wish I had waited till today.
Somebody said in the chat, Victor's a content creator and Tom's a trader. They said that like 2 months ago. That comment has lived in my head like rent free.
Oh my God.
For 60 days.
I love that.
Nothing he says lives rent free in my mind. I would.
Oh, he didn't say it. Somebody in the chat said it.
Yeah, you should.
Rent free in my head.
I love that person.
I think
Send them something.
I think that
That's
it's a discount to you.
No, it's not. Why is,
You're on air. You're on air like 6 hours a day. If you're not a content creator,
why is that? That's not a discount to me. I like that.
I think so.
I actually love that. I'm happy with that.
fair enough.
You don't think that's a compliment? I think it's a compliment.
For a high maintenance gentleman like yourself, you don't think that's a compliment?
High maintenance. What the
I would rather be known as, like, if somebody says to me, "What do you do?" What do you say when somebody says to you, "What do you do?"
I make fun of my good friend 4.5 hours a day. And I love it.
I work in hospice.
What do you do?
I used to say I was a shoe salesman. I really did.
What do you do? When somebody says to you, "What do you do?" What do you say?
I mean, I really tell them that you have to just tune in and find out for yourself. And I give them my thing. I said, if you
What does that
worry about
mean?
your
You have to
fin-
tune in. I don't even know what you do. Tune into
worry-
what?
I say, if you worry about your finance and you want to try to, get ahead with your investing, tune in.
So here's a true story. So my wife and I are flying to California last weekend to visit our son, and we're on the plane. So
You keep buttoning and unbuttoning that shirt, and I'm telling you,
It's
I'm getting nauseous. I'm getting
I am
nauseous.
so chubby over here. I cannot tell you right now.
So she's talking to some guy behind her,
Yeah.
and
That she is. How much you make? Obviously, nothing else matters to me right now.
so she's talking to this guy, and I'm not saying a word, right? And I don't know what they're talking about, but they're yakking about something.
Having a good time, drinking champagne together.
They're talking, okay? And he goes, "What does your husband do?" Okay, which is,
What does that schmagegi next to you do?
what does he do? Okay, what does your husband do? And so, because like when people ask me what I do, I say I'm a trader.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Tony can't say that, but other people here, like you say you're a content creator. Tony doesn't know what to say. He says if you have issues with finance.
No, I say if you want to get ahead in your finances,
What'd you say?
tune in.
What'd you say?
So no, I want to hear what she said.
What'd she say?
So she's like, she looks at me. She's like, I never know what to say when people say, "What do you do?" And I say, just say, "I'm a trader," because that's what I say. I'm a trader. She goes, "Well, you're not really a trader anymore."
She's right.
She is
Not
right.
a good one.
She is right.
And I say,
You're a content creator.
"I'm a trader," and then that's it. Because it doesn't mean
I know what I am now. I'm a babysitter. I had no idea, but now I know. I'm a babysitter.
I'm not a babysitter. I don't need to babysit. I'm just saying. So, like, how you think of yourself is how it comes off on air. So, like, when I think of myself, I think of myself as a trader. So when you said that, I like it. I think of you more as a content creator.
I am the president of the United
Tony
States.
thinks more of a schmuck.
I have trouble explaining Tony to people.
All right, I'm out of here.